Hi, boys and girls. It's Mrs. D. Simone, and this week's story is called Henry and Mudge and the Long Weekend. Henry and Henry's big dog Mudge woke up on Saturday in February and looked outside. Yuck, said Henry. It was gray, it was cold, it was muddy, and it was wet. Excuse me. No sun, Henry said. No snow. Just yuck and wet yuck. Mudge leaned against Henry and drooled. What are we going to do all weekend? Henry asked. Mudge leaned harder. How will we have some fun? Henry grumbled. Mudge leaned harder still. What a boring weekend! Henry growled. Mudge let go and leaned all the way. Whoa! Yelled Henry. Mudge flattened Henry like a pancake. How are we going to get up? He said. Henry wondered. Henry and Mudge had a boring breakfast. They watched some boring cartoons. They listened to Henry's father tell some boring jokes. Boy, is this boring, said Henry. What are we going to do? He asked. Mudge knew what to do. Mudge always knew what to do. If there was nothing interesting to eat, nothing interesting to smell, and nothing interesting to chew, he went to sleep. No, Mudge, said Henry, giving him a push. Wake up! Mudge sat up. He wanted to stay awake. He tried to stay awake, but everything was so boring that he couldn't. His eyes just kept closing, and his head kept nodding, and his mouth kept drooling. Exciting dog you have there, said Henry's father. He's bored, said Henry. Mudge is bored. I'm bored. Boy, is this boring. Henry's father frowned. February cranks, he asked. Henry nodded. In winter grumpies. Henry nodded again. Pre-spring meanies. Okay, Dad. Okay, Henry said. Boy, are you bored, said Henry's father. The three of them sat there. Their eyes kept closing. Their head kept nodding. And one of their mouths just kept on drooling. Henry's mother saw them. Goodness, she said. This is going to be a long weekend. Then she had an idea. I have an idea, Henry's mother said. Henry opened his eyes. Henry's father sat up, and Mudge just kept on sleeping. He didn't care much about ideas, not until the idea smelled like something. Let's make a castle, said Henry's mother. A castle? Said Henry and Henry's father. We still have the box. The new refrigerator came in. In the box, the new stove came in. Henry was getting the idea. And that paint set that Uncle Arthur gave me, said Henry. Let's do it. They headed for the basement. Mudge was still trying to sleep, but when he heard voices in the basement, he woke up pretty fast. Mudge loved the basement. It had a million of new smells and a lot of places to hide, and some of the old dog toys were down there. Come on, Mudge, Henry called, but Mudge was already on his way. It has to have a small tower and a large tower, said Henry's father, and a drawbridge, and some support, and some flags, Dad, said Henry. It's just a refrigerator box. Not for long, said Henry's father. So Henry ran upstairs for his castle book. Henry's mother ran upstairs for pencils. Henry's father ran upstairs for a stapler. And then Mudge ran upstairs for a quick snack. They all looked at each other in the kitchen. How'd we all get up here again? Asked Henry's father. When they got back to the basement, they opened up the castle book. Let's make this one, he said. Henry's father took a look. Henry's mother took a look. Okay, they said. One of them drew, one of them cut, and one of them stapled. And one of them went looking for an old boot he used to chew. They all worked for a long time until someone said, "Is anyone getting hungry?" "Order a pizza," said Henry's father. "We can't stop now." They worked a while longer until the pizza came. When they stopped and ate pizza while they stared at the castle they were building, they each imagined how it would look when it would be done. For the rest of the afternoon, they cut out fancy windows and fancy doors. In Mudge, he chewed his old boot like crazy. When evening came and Henry finally had to crawl into bed, he could hardly wait to finish the castle. He could hardly wait for more of the long weekend. Henry woke up. He looked outside. "Wet, yuck," he said, but he didn't care. "We have a castle to finish," he told Mudge. Henry and Henry's father ate some cold cereal and then ran to the basement. Henry's mother stayed in the kitchen to read the morning paper. She was always better at thinking up ideas than finishing them. "And besides," she said, "you have to have someone to surprise." So Henry and Henry's father painted the castle all morning. Look at Mudge. He's all full of paint, too. While they worked, Mudge sniffed screwdrivers and paint cans and dirty rags and beach balls and Christmas decorations and a stuffed turkey. And he also tried to eat a spider, but he missed. Henry and Henry's father were very quiet. They wanted to pay attention. They wanted to do a good job. And every now and then, Henry's mother would call out, "Is there life down there?" Finally, close to lunchtime, Henry looked at his father. His father looked at him. "Wow!" they both said. "Come look, come look," they called up the stairs. Henry's mother went to the top of the stairs. Not yet," they called, and then she waited. Okay, they called. She went down the stairs, and there she saw the most beautiful castle, the most beautiful knights, and the most beautiful kings she had ever seen. They had spent a long time admiring the castle. They took turns sitting in it. They stuck their heads through the window. They opened and closed the doors. They lowered its drawbridge over and over. Henry was thrilled. He gave his parents a big hug. He gave Mudge a big hug, too. "What a weekend," said Henry. The king gave him a big lick. And what a great king. Boys and girls, wasn't that a fun story? Just think, they didn't have anything to do, and then they decided to build a castle. How fun. Okay, boys and girls, today what you're going to do is, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to draw what you think it looked like when Henry first looked out the window at the beginning of the story. What do you think the weather looked like when he first looked out the window? Okay, you're going to draw me a picture for that. Then you're going to draw your favorite part of this story. Which part was your favorite? I think my favorite part was when they were painting the castle. But what was your favorite part? And then I would like for you to tell me whether you would or wouldn't like a dog like Mudge. Okay? So you could draw all of those. You could do all of those if you'd like, or just pick your favorite. Bye, boys and girls. See you next week.